Our planet holds numerous sites where time stands still, abandoned towns and settlements where streets, schools, and homes remain frozen in decay. Some fell victim to disasters, others emptied overnight, and a few remain shrouded in mystery. Let's explore 15 of the world's most haunting abandoned locations. One. Hashima Island, Japan's concrete ghost city. Off Nagasaki's coast lies Hashima Island, resembling a rusting warship more than land. Once one of Earth's most densely populated areas, it's now a crumbling concrete shell surrounded by sea. Mitsubishi purchased this coal mining facility in the late 1800s during Japan's industrialization. The company built apartment blocks, schools, shops, and hospitals to house workers. By the 1950s, over 5,000 people inhabited this tiny 16-acre island, stacked like bricks in a dense community. In 1974, residents abandoned the island hurriedly, leaving books on desks, rusted bicycles in courtyards, and dishes on tables, creating a chilling snapshot frozen in time. The island remained off-limits for decades, partly due to safety concerns and partly because of its dark history of Korean and Chinese forced laborers who died in the mines during World War II. Recent years have seen the Japanese government permitting limited tourism, though access remains tightly controlled. The island has fascinated filmmakers, historians, and paranormal enthusiasts, even appearing as a villain's lair in the James Bond film Skyfall. 2. Centralia, the town that's still burning. Beneath eastern Pennsylvania's hills burns a fire that has raged since 1962 with no signs of stopping. This is Centralia, an almost empty town built atop an underground coal seam fire that has transformed homes into hazard zones and cracked roads into steaming vents. The fire began when a local landfill burn occurred too close to an exposed coal vein. Flames spread rapidly through mine tunnels beneath the town, igniting an uncontainable blaze. Toxic gases and dangerous sinkholes appeared, with residents noticing basements filling with heat and carbon monoxide. By the 1980s, the government condemned the town. Most residents accepted buyouts and left, though a handful defied orders and remained in what had essentially become a ghost town above an inferno. This underground fire could continue burning for another 250 years. Today, Centralia features graffiti-covered roads crisscrossing cracked asphalt, with dead blackened trees whose roots cook in the heat below. From above, it resembles a patchwork of forest, dirt paths, and faint grid lines where streets once existed, a town consumed not by war or plague, but by fire. 3. Kolmonskop, Namibia's sand-filled ghost town. In the Namib Desert, surrounded by rolling dunes and searing winds, lie the remains of a diamond mining town swallowed whole by sand. Kolmonskop, once a thriving German settlement, has become one of Earth's most surreal abandoned places, where only wind moves, carrying sand into every room and hallway. Founded in the early 1900s after a railway worker discovered surface diamonds, the town sprang up overnight with luxuries unexpected for its remote location. It featured mansions, a hospital with Africa's first X-ray machine, a school, bowling alley, theater, and even an ice factory. Residents drank champagne, played European music, and enjoyed wealth pulled directly from the ground. As diamond fields depleted and richer deposits were discovered elsewhere, Kolmonskop was abandoned. By the 1950s, the desert began its slow invasion. The site stands miles from the nearest inhabited town, with visitors traveling across vast stretches of unpaved desert to witness an unforgettable vision, an entire town dissolving into sand, with architecture blending into dunes as civilization is reclaimed grain by grain. 4. Sanxi, Taiwan's abandoned pod village. Outside New Taipei City in Taiwan, along a windy coastal highway facing the sea, stand the crumbling remains of what was once intended as a luxury futuristic utopia. Sanxi featured a collection of abandoned UFO-shaped pod buildings that appeared dropped from the sky. Construction began in the late 1970s as a seaside resort for wealthy vacationers, using futuristic modular architecture resembling flying saucers. The pods were prefabricated and stacked in interlocking curves, creating a surreal space colony aesthetic. Almost immediately after construction began, problems arose. Numerous fatal accidents occurred on site, workers fell, equipment failed, and rumors of curses spread. Local superstition connected the land to an old Dutch burial ground, with some believing spirits of the dead resisted the resort's development. Financial backing faltered, developers withdrew, and by the early 1980s, the project was abandoned, leaving dozens of brightly colored pods baking in the sun, exposed to typhoons in time. By 2010, most original pods were demolished, but their memory lives on in photographs and videos capturing this haunting fusion of retro-futurism and quiet failure. 5. Bechuan, China's buried earthquake city. In Sichuan Province's mountains lies the shattered remains of Bechuan, a city violently erased by one of China's most devastating modern earthquakes. On May 12, 2008, a magnitude 7.9 quake struck the region, killing over 80,000 people, with Bechuan suffering some of the worst destruction. Entire apartment blocks collapsed like dominoes, hillsides gave way in landslides that buried schools, homes, and streets under thousands of tons of debris. A nearby dam burst, flooding low-lying areas with muddy water. The devastation was so complete that the Chinese government abandoned the original site entirely, building a new Bechuan nearby. What remains is a frozen time capsule of catastrophe, crushed buildings where they fell, rebar and concrete tangled like broken bones, school bags strewn in classroom ruins, and cars half submerged in cracked roads. One day filled with life, the next with silence, not because the economy failed or war broke out, but because the earth itself opened beneath them. 6. Varosha, Cyprus's sealed time capsule. On Cyprus's eastern coast lies a ghost city trapped in time, Varosha, once the crown jewel of the Cypriot Riviera, filled with luxury hotels, seaside resorts, and high-end boutiques. In the early 1970s, it ranked among the Mediterranean's most popular tourist destinations. Then came the Turkish invasion of 1974, changing everything. As Turkish forces advanced into Famagusta, where Varosha is located, the Greek Cypriot population fled in panic. Within days, the district was sealed with fences, guarded by Turkish troops, and declared a military exclusion zone. No one was allowed to return. For 5 decades, time simply stopped inside the perimeter. Hotel lobbies remain frozen mid-cleanup, department stores still stocked with 1970s fashion, cars sit idle with keys in ignition. Plants grow through tile floors and burst through shattered windows. Unlike ancient ruins, Varosha contains contemporary decay, 1974 televisions, record players, sunglasses, and magazines, familiar yet somehow off, a city on pause where the clock was never allowed to resume. 7. Haotuwen, China's village swallowed by nature. On China's Xingshan Island within the Zhoushan archipelago lies a village that resembles less a human settlement and more a forgotten temple consumed by jungle. Haotuwen, once home to a thriving fishing community, has been completely overtaken by a thick veil of creeping vines, moss, and silence. Founded in the 1950s, Haotuwen was a remote but prosperous village relying on the nearby East China Sea. At its peak, it housed over 2,000 people. Due to geographic isolation, declining fishing stocks, and lack of modern infrastructure, the population dwindled by the 1990s, with complete abandonment by the early 2000s. The buildings still stand, brick homes, stone stairways, tiled rooftops, but every surface is covered in green. Ivy spills from windows, figs grow from gutters, and entire homes are wrapped like presents in vegetation. Recently, tourists and photographers have been drawn to images of ghostly green windows and staircases to nowhere. A few enterprising locals have returned to run guest houses or food stands for visitors, but the village core remains untouched, too overgrown, too precarious, too sacred in its quiet entropy. 8. Oradour-sur-Glane, France's village of shadows. In west-central France stands a village in permanent mourning. Oradour-sur-Glane wasn't abandoned gradually but extinguished in a single day during World War II. On June 10, 1944, a Nazi Waffen-SS division massacred 642 villagers, including women and children, and burned the town to the ground. After the war, Charles de Gaulle declared it should never be rebuilt. Instead, it would remain a sacred ruin, a memorial preserved in silence. Today, visitors walk through shattered streets as if through a museum of ghosts. Burned-out car husks still sit in garages, bicycles rust outside melted door frames, and the school, bakery, and church stand as they did on that terrible day. Unlike many abandoned places, Oradour is meticulously preserved, no restoration, no renovation. Every charred beam and broken brick remains in place, protected by the state and watched over by survivors and historians. Most harrowing is the church where women and children were locked inside and killed with explosives and fire. The altar still stands, the iron bell hangs silent, and even whispers feel too loud. These 15 abandoned locations represent more than mere ruins, they're time capsules of human ambition, tragedy, and resilience. Whether consumed by nature, destroyed by disaster, or emptied by conflict, each tells a unique story about our relationship with the spaces we create and sometimes must leave behind. They remind us that even our most impressive constructions remain temporary against the forces of time, nature, and history.